Congressman Grayson, 3 years, you, the Richard Fowler. 4 years, you, the Richard Fowler Show. Seems like a match made in heaven. Thanks for doing it once again.
I think everyone understands that at this point.
They do.
Right.
So, an hour speech.
Yes, that's true. You're right. You obviously have a watch or a clock or a phone that has a built-in time thingy
they
or
said
something
this
like
year,
that.
Like this year, they said it was supposed to be shorter. And I mean, I guess an hour is shorter than an hour 15.
Are
which
you
is
saying
last
that the President of the United States bored you?
No, I wasn't bored. I just thought it was long.
Well, I mean, not as long as Star Wars.
Didn't watch.
You have to take my word for it then. I won't tell you he dies. That would be wrong. That would ruin it for you.
Very wrong. So what stood out for you in the speech tonight, sir?
It looks like President Obama has adopted the Graceland Platform hook, line, and sinker. The biggest applause he got during the entire speech was when he said that we need to end gerrymandering and make sure that the voters choose the elected officials rather than the elected officials choosing the voters. Guess who introduced a constitutional amendment on that very subject yesterday?
Let me
yesterday. Doesn't it seem like Grayson must have had an advanced copy of the speech? But no, I didn't. The first
Did they give you an advanced copy of the speech?
No. The first constitutional amendment ever introduced to ban gerrymandering. I introduced it yesterday, and the president gets the crowd to go wild just 24 hours later.
I'm pretty sure you'll sign up co-sponsors like crazy tomorrow.
Yes, probably so. I mean, if the president likes it, let's face it, it's a good thing.
That is true. So, beyond just he did a good job. He also laid out the foreign policy very well, I thought. I mean, I think he did a good job of sizing up the ISIS threat. He's like, there's a whole bunch of people in pickup trucks riding around in the desert. Sure, we can call it World War III if you'd like, but that doesn't seem to be accurate.
Yes, but bear in mind that every time we bomb them, we're bombing them with a $5 million bomb against a $5,000 truck. Those numbers are not really good for us. It's even worse, okay, when we send a $10 million missile to take out a $10 tent. Those numbers aren't too good for us either.
So what do you suggest, Congressman? Just leave it alone?
Honestly, no. I think we should get the local Sunni countries to deal with the problem themselves. I mean, I reached out to 10 of the local countries that have substantial armies, substantial military forces, and 4 of them told me they would actually contribute armed forces to take out ISIS. But our administration doesn't want it to be that way. They want us to do everything.
Well, I mean, the president would probably say to you, "Well, that's because America's great and we fund our."
Yes, but the funny thing is, our troops unfortunately don't speak Arabic. They don't understand the local customs. Most of our troops don't share the same religion, and that causes all sorts of practical problems, okay? If you send in our troops to do that work, you run into all sorts of real difficulties, especially the fact that the locals often resent seeing people who don't look like them, don't sound like them, don't talk like them, coming into their country and taking it over. That's what's known traditionally as imperialism.
You heard it here first, folks, imperialism. So, beyond that, is there one part of the president's speech you didn't like?
No, I thought it was a good speech overall. I have to tell you that nobody in the room seemed to like what he said about the transpacific partnership. It's interesting. Last year, the only time during the president's speech, which was 45 minutes last time, to give you credit where credit is due, in his 45-minute speech last year, the only time that the Republicans applauded and the Democrats didn't was when the president talked about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This year, the Republicans peeled off too, and you can check the tape. The only people who gave the president a standing ovation when he spoke about the Trans-Pacific Partnership was his own cabinet. That is true.
So you have a better vantage point from where you are. We're just looking at live feeds coming in. I mean, You're sitting in the chamber. What's that like, by the way, sitting in the chamber? Is it boring?
An hour-long orgasm is what it's like. I don't know how else to describe it, really.
His comm director behind the camera is freaking out right now. Is it that? I mean,
what do you want me to say? Okay,
I mean, I don't know. I've never been. I'm asking. I mean, the first lady's sitting on top of you.
No, the first lady was definitely not. So now you're getting rude. Okay. That's a terrible thing to say. They're a happily married couple.
No, I mean,
why are you insinuating something like that?
I mean, she was in the balcony above.
Oh, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I was, I can't win, America. I cannot seem to win. I agree with you on the TVP. I think it's awful. It hurts working people, hurts working families. You have a race going on, right?
Yes, that's right. I'm running for the U.S. Senate. I want to move from this side of the building to the other side of the building.
Do you think it's going to be better over there? Bigger office, but is it going to be better?
I can get more done. I mean, I get a lot done already. I passed 54 amendments in the last 3 years, more than any other member of the Congress. But if I can do that, where we have the Republicans in charge and the Rules Committee is always trying to slap me down, imagine what I can do over the Senate, where everything requires unanimous consent.
I think Ted Cruz might be pretty pissed off with you every day over there.
Well, especially since I recognize that he should be running for Prime Minister of Canada rather than President of the United States.
So do you think he's an American?
Well, I mean, he's probably an American citizen, but that doesn't mean you can be President of the United States. Read the Constitution. You have to be 35 years old. You have to be in the country for 14 years.
Check.
And by the way, you have to be a natural-born citizen of the United States. I've never understood his claim that he's a natural-born citizen. His mother was a voter in Alberta. How does that work?
I'm asking. I don't know. I think it's. But speaking about the birther situation, it's ironic that all the people who are supporting Ted Cruz were also the same people saying that Obama was born in Kenya.
Well, it's kind of disturbing, but I mean, it's the ultimate false equivalence, since one charge is entirely true and the other charge is entirely false. Right?
Exactly right.
I hope we've not reached the point where those two things are regarded as equal or equivalent or equal or the same.
You have to understand, these are people who also believe that Donald Trump can make America great again.
That's true, but these are people who believe that in Donald Trump's space program, you know what that is?
I don't know.
Donald Trump wants to build a bridge from the Earth to the moon and make the extraterrestrials pay for it. And they believe that because he's going to be really tough on the extraterrestrials.
I'm not going to vote for Donald Trump, but I find him to be very entertaining. Because I think no matter what the question is, he always has the same, I'm like, so what are you going to do for African Americans? He's like, well, the blacks love me. And then they're like, what are you going to do? He literally said that. Quote.
That's what he says, right? Yes, that is the Trumpism. The blacks love me. Yes.
He's like, the blacks love me.
I thought we'd moved past that some of my best friends are line, but that's sort of where we are now.
No, that's exactly where Donald Trump, that's exactly where we are. He's like, women? How would it be incredible for women?
Yes, yes.
Well, women love me.
Think of all the wives he's had. I wonder how many of them are going to vote for him.
2. Well, Melania.
No, I think it's more.
He said more than 2?
I think so.
No, he had
hard to keep up,
Ivanka, the first one.
I thought he had at least 3, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. All I just tell people is that the White House will be gold-plated immediately. He will gold-plate the
I don't think he'd want to live in the White House. I mean, obviously, he'll
live in his own Trump
palace in Florida is the new White House. That's what I'm sure and redoing the curtains is not going to be enough. I'll tell you that.
True. I mean, all right. So let's ask the question, right? So
why are we actually talking about what it might be like to have Trump as president? Such an icky thing to be talking about.
He's awoken the silent majority.
Yeah.
Unemployed, angry white men, the same ones that invaded the government compound in Oregon.
Well, it is interesting. He is tapping into a vein of populism. Unfortunately, it's mixed in with a vein of insanity. And
I would say a vein of racism / insanity.
Yes, I mean the whole Republican primary has been like that. It's a contest to see who can be the biggest bigot. It's a reality show.
No, it very much is a reality show. I feel as though they're all characters on Survivor. They're trying to outplay, and outlast each other. Well, but I'm just surprised that they haven't voted.
They should all be voted off the island, particularly Cruz, since he's not even a citizen of the island.
I mean, I'm just mad they haven't voted Jeb Bush off the island yet.
Oh God, Jeb Bush. He is so 19th century.
He really is. He's like so 1993.
Yeah. No, all this stuff all his little political schemes and plots. He was a horrible governor. By the way.
I'm from Florida. I know he was like the FCAT. You could thank Jeb Bush.
Well, that's just scratching the surface. I mean, he screwed up our whole Medicaid program by privatizing it. We're still not recovered from that mess.
True. I mean, but I just find it funny that he doesn't understand why he's losing. He's like, he really can't comprehend why he's losing. Well,
it is easy to understand why he cannot understand that because he was the establishment candidate. He had name recognition. He had money. He had endorsements. He has endorsements coming out of his ears. And none of it seems to matter to the voters, even the money. I mean, he spent $50 million already, and he's moved in Iowa from 9% of the polls to 8% of the polls.
And here's the thing, Donald Trump has spent less than $1 million, I want to say. He just dropped his new ad, which is the ad is like, I'm going to make America great again.
Well, it's paid for by those T-shirts and hats that he sells. He hawks those T-shirts and those hats. But, I mean, don't kid yourself. I mean, he's the oligarchy made real.
He is, but
if you've got a guy who really is like the boss, and who likes the boss? I mean, nobody likes. That's like worse than your mother-in-law. Nobody likes the boss, and he goes around telling everybody his catchphrase is "You're fired," and this is the guy who we want running America. That sounds very dangerous to me.
I mean, like I said,
wages are too high, he says.
And the thing about Trump that I think why he has this sort of sticking power is I actually think it's because he flies around with his name on the plane. Like if you go to LaGuardia and you land LaGuardia, like, oh, there's Trump. His plane is just sitting on the tarmac.
No, this is a very interesting point. I can't remember, it's Fort Lauderdale or Miami. I think it's Fort Lauderdale. But if you fly in, no matter how you fly into that airport, you will pass over a Trump property that has his name on the roof. I'm serious. I've seen it several times. I just can't remember which of the two airports it is. I think it's Fort Lauderdale.
I believe it. Yeah. He's a man, a myth, and a legend.
You better believe it. I said it.
Of Congressman, Congressman Grayson says it. I believe it.
You're right. You know what our bumper stickers say?
Making America great again?
No. Grayson, truth.
Grayson, truth.
Grayson, truth. Now, if it's on a bumper sticker, it must be
I feel as though your bumper sticker should say, Grayson, bye, Felicia.
Oh, my God. You're going to make me cry if you keep saying things like that.
No, bye, Felicia is a good term. It's like a term of endearment.
Okay. I feel better now.
So, other questions, right? So, what do you think?
Go ahead.
What do you think about Joe Biden? I thought he was the best hype man ever. Like, he was the perfect. He's a person you want to stand behind you in a good press conference. He's just like.
I agree with that, but it reminded me too much of Ed McMahon. I thought. I love Johnny Carson, but I wasn't that fond of Ed McMahon. So.
But you've got to love Joe Biden.
Oh, I do. I love Joe Biden. I absolutely love. I made a point of going up and saying hi to Joe. Everybody loves Joe.
I always think he should have ran for president.
Well, obviously he thinks so, but let's face it, it would have been hard for him to win. And it is quite a grind. Let me tell you, even running for statewide in Florida is
no, I know, because you have, 15 media markets? And
11 media markets, but 20 million people. That's 40 million eyeballs. Think about that.
It is, and it's thousands of miles.
Yeah, yeah.
It has to be tough.
Yeah, well, nobody held a gun to my head and made me run, but I have to tell you.
But you got the boots are made for walking, man.
They're right. You're right. I could do what Walkin' Lawton did. Walkin' Lawton Childs.
I love Lawton
all
Childs.
Around the state and won the governorship, I believe, twice, if I recall correctly.
I thought he won it
beat Bush.
Didn't he win it 3 times? No, Bob Graham won it 3 times. Twice, took 4 years off and then came back and won again, right?
Right. Term limits apply only in consecutive terms in Florida, so you get 8 plus whatever you get later on. But Walkin' Lawton beat Jeb. The only time Jeb's ever lost running for office until now.
Yes, indeed.
Until now.
America.
That was in harmony until now.
America. A late night on the Capitol with our good friend Alan Grayson. It doesn't get any better than that. Now, stay tuned for this one. We're making a commitment. We're going to do a long-form interview with Alan in his office sometime in the near future.
This is not your idea. I mean, even Trump would say, this is a long-form interview. This is the best.
This is not a long-form interview. We need multiple cameras and angles. No. We're going to do
justice
it right.
Of what? Your blue ensemble here?
And all the boots. I want to see the checkered cheetah. The checkered cheetah boots.
Checkered cheetah
which
boots,
is an endangered species. They no longer exist. So
no. It's so endangered that it never existed in the first place.
Boom. I couldn't have said it better myself. Congressman Grayson, thanks for being on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Always.
Thank you very much.